Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? We are going to do a fun technique tonight using our Inspiring Snapdragons set. And it's these beautiful snapdragons. I love these big sentiments. There's also a die set that goes with it. We won't be using it tonight, but what's so fun is these images here, these dies will cut out these images here. There's also some extra dies and some builder dies. So these will cut out all of the snapdragon outlines. Hey Avril, woohoo! How are you, friend? Okay. So we're going to be using this today, and what we're going to be doing is a fun technique, a watercolor wash using our watercolor paper, our water painters, which are these. They come in a 3-pack of varying sizes, and we're going to be doing some embossing. So this is our watercolor paper. It comes in these size sheets, and all I did for tonight's card is cut the piece in half, exactly in half, to give me the piece that we're going to work on for tonight's card. So I love our watercolor paper. It's great because when you're watercoloring and you use regular paper, it will kind of start to warp, right, with the water that you're putting on it. This one doesn't do that. So I love that. It's cotton. It's great. And so we are going to use that tonight. So I've got my piece here. We're going to be using our water painters, and I have just a bit of water in a little Tupperware that we will use in a bit. But before we get to watercoloring with Pool Party and Melon Mambo, we're going to do a bit of embossing. So I've got my image here that we're going to use. I've got my Versamark ink. So we're going to ink this up in our Versamark. And I've got our brand new Wow embossing powder in white. So our embossing powders come in 2 new sets. And we're going to talk about the differences a little bit. But these are the 3-pack sets that they come in. So there is the basics that has clear, white, that we're going to be using tonight, and black. And then there's the metallics that has silver, gold, and copper. So 2 different packs that you can get with our embossing powders. And we're going to be using our embossing tray. So if you haven't got your embossing kit, you're going to want to add that to your list. It comes with this great tray. It comes with our embossing buddy that we're going to use. It comes with a brush that we will use. It even comes with some tweezers. It's a great little set. So I'm going to set that aside, but we're going to come back to that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to ink up our image here with our Versamark ink. So Versamark ink is like a clear ink, but it's really, really sticky. So what that's going to do is it's going to let the embossing powder stick to it so that when we heat it up, we get that beautiful embossed image. So we've got that all inked up. You can probably see the shine. Hey Ty, there it goes. You can see the shine, that's the ink that's on there, right? So we're just going to we inked it up. We're just going to stamp that right down. We're just going to kind of press and hold it for a second. So we want to make sure that we get all that sticky ink onto our watercolor paper there. And And I know you can't probably see it, but you probably can't see it, but it's there, I promise. So we're gonna bring in our embossing tray here. We're gonna stick our paper right inside. We're gonna take our white embossing powder and we're just going to sprinkle it over top. You can do it liberally because we're gonna put all our extras right back into the container, so there won't be any waste. We're gonna pick up our paper here and we're gonna tap that off. Any excess. If you see any excess, you can kind of like use your brush. That's what that tool tray is great for, if there's any little extra sprinkles. But now you can probably see the white on there with the powder. See that? Okay, and now we're gonna put this to the side. Need a bigger table here. Okay, and then we've got our embossing gun. Before we do that, let me put the lid on this so I don't accidentally knock it over. I've done that before. Okay, so we are now gonna turn on our embossing gun. So it kind of sounds like a hair dryer. It might be a little loud just for a second, but I want you to see the magic of embossing. So I like to let it warm up just for a second. And then we'll take our piece here. I want to make sure we get real close to the camera so that you can see as the powder heats up, it's going to start to change. So look in the bottom right there. Can you see it? Can you see it starting to change? So look at the difference already, right? From the top and the bottom there. So we're just gonna go ahead and heat this up. And so what this does, the powder's just melting. It's a fun chemical reaction. And then we've got this raised, beautiful, let's see if the light can catch it. There we go. That's probably the best. Can you see that? How fun, right? So it creates some dimension and some texture. And I know it's hard to see right now. If we were doing this on another colored paper, you'd be able to see it. But now we're gonna do a fun watercolor wash technique right on over our image here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 2 clear blocks, and you can do this a few ways. You can actually watercolor right in the opening of your stamp pad. You can squish it together using all your muscles and get some ink here and do it that way. You can take your re-inkers and just dab a couple dots on to your clear blocks, or I just take my ink pad right over top of it, smush it a couple of times, and there you have some ink onto your acrylic block, and then you can just wipe them right off with a baby wipe or run them under the water, and easy peasy, they clean right on off. Okay, so we've got our 2 colors. We're gonna take first one of our water painter brushes that you fill them with water inside, and then you just squeeze and the water will come out the tip of the brush, and then you'll be able to watercolor. And so for the first part, what we're gonna do to create our wash here is we're just going to squeeze, it says push, and you'll see a little bit of water comes right out on there. And so first we're just gonna do a really quick light wash right over top of the whole thing. So we're just kind of laying down a clear coat of water. I'm gonna bring in my water here, and now comes the magic. So we're gonna start with our pool party here. I'm using the biggest brush. I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze some water so that it gets some water on our block here. Kind of swish that together. And we're gonna start at the top. And we've already got our water, so that first layer of water is important. And we're just gonna do a quick light wash. And then we'll go back and kind of darken it to light just until about the center here. And if you want it a little darker at the top, you can just add a little bit more. And then usually at this point, I'll rinse a bit. That's why I have my little cup of water, just to kind of rinse the color out. And then I'll take my heat tool. You could just let it dry, but I'll take my heat tool here and just real lightly give it a quick dry. All right, see our embossing coming to life? Now we're gonna take the same pen and now we're gonna do it in the Melon Mambo. Add a little bit of water there. And we're gonna start at the bottom this time because we kind of want it to get light as the center. And so we're just gonna do our Melon Mambo. And then just right up to the center there. Back down. And however far up you want to go. Just kind of real loose to create that wash. And again, if you want it a little bit darker, you can do a little darker at the bottom. You can always add a little bit more. The water painters make it super easy. Okay, and then let's hit it with a little heat. Just kind of some light heat there. Speed up our process. And there we have our wash. Let me back up a bit. Our wash with our embossing. And so all of our white image here is raised, embossed. It's got some shine to it. It's super beautiful. I love creating the background with the wash. And so actually let's add a little bit more of that pool party. Sometimes you should just leave it well enough alone though, right? Anybody ever over color? We think it's just not right and we keep adding, right? Okay, hit it with a little bit of heat here. All right. So now we're gonna put this up to, pull this away here because we don't want to get anything on our card as we put it together, right? So better just pull that off. Okay, so now we're gonna put some things together and do a bit more stamping. I've already got our pieces cut, so let's stamp the inside of our card. We're gonna let this dry here just another second. So we're gonna use the Inspired by You sentiment. So we'll just ink this up. This is just some basic white. Got that. And let's see, let's do one of our smaller tree images here. Not tree, snapdragons. So we'll use that one. And we'll ink this one up right on the bottom inside there. Aren't those beautiful? Okay, and then we'll put away our Melon Mambo. We'll bring in our pool party because we're gonna stamp one of these cute dragonflies back onto top of our watercolor wash there. So we'll just ink that up. And we've got our dragonfly. And I love how it kind of gives it that watercolored effect since we're stamping it just right on there, right? Bring in a little green glue for the inside piece of our card. just stick that right on the inside. And remember, all the measurements, all the step-by-step instructions, there will be a free PDF. I'll email that out tomorrow if you're part of our Buzz Bulletin. If not, you can subscribe right below in the description. Or you can go to stampinqueenbee.com, that's my blog, and you can sign up there. Find all the past printables will be there as well. So we're just gluing this onto piece of Pool Party. There we go. And we're gonna bring in some white twine here. And my ribbon scissors. We're gonna leave that attached, but what we're gonna do is we are gonna loop this around 3 times. So 1, 2, 3 times. We're gonna snip some off there. And we're just going to tie this first into a knot and then into a bow. So first into a knot, just like so, and then we're just gonna loop this right into a bow. We'll just adjust a little bit here. Make sure it's the size we want and that the loops are playing nice there. Trim off the little bit of excess. And then we're just gonna add some dimensionals right to the back of our card here, or our focal piece, and I'll just put a couple over our twine just to kind of hold that in place. Maybe one more. And then we're just going to take off our backings. And we'll just center that onto our card. We'll add a little bling, a little sparkle. Just center that left to right. There we go. And we're gonna bring in my spritzer box. Set that inside. This is my Wink of Stella in our spritzer wand. So I just emptied an entire Wink of Stella into our spritzer wand, filled it up with about halfway with some rubbing alcohol, the 70%. Shake it up. And we're just gonna spritz, spritz, spritz. And that is gonna give our card a beautiful glitzy shine. And of course, we gotta add some bling. So we've got our iridescent faceted gems here. Grab my Take Your Pick tool, and we'll just add 3 of those to front of our card. These are quickly becoming one of my favorite new embellishments. So if you don't have these yet, they'll go with everything because they're just iridescent, kind of white iridescent, but they pick up on other colors. So they go with so much. I love, love, love them. And so there you have our card of the day, inspired by you with our watercolor wash technique and some white embossing and that new embossing powder. So just to give you a little, let that one dry, just to give you a little comparison. So this was our previous white embossing powder, and this is our new embossing powder. And so I just want you to see, let me get as close as I can, the camera will pick it up real well. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so can you see in this one, it has much more of a white ivory tint, and the new one is much brighter white. So it's actually called ultra bright white, and it is definitely a more true white. I'm so excited for that. So our new Wow embossing powder, opaque bright white, and like I said, it comes in those 3 packs. So they are available now. You can get the basics with clear, white, and black, or the metallics with the silver, gold, and copper. So super excited about those. Hope you love today's card, and if you're on my Buzz Bulletin email list, the instructions and free printable PDF will go out tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys soon.